our next boy. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let me see how the audio is. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Okay, I think it's good enough. Let me turn it up just a little
Perfect.
bit. Yeah, I just want to make sure for YouTube that our audio is like roughly at the same level, so people don't have one person coming in super quiet and the other one super loud.
Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
Because that always bothers me on other videos. So I'm trying to not make the same mistake. All
Yeah,
right.
because then you gotta turn up the volume just to hear the second guy, right?
Yeah, and then
And
the first
then
one
the
is like
first guy's just
shouting.
killing your ears.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Let's see. What do I call you?
Kun is fine because my Twitch name is kind of offensive.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep it non-offensive.
Yeah.
Kun. All right. We can magnify things like this. Damn, I haven't seen anyone make like an actual album like this, but it's like, it's nice.
I tried organizing it so that we
Yeah.
would have like the most important stuff at the beginning,
Yeah.
and
No.
then it would go from the WSE down.
Yep. No, it makes sense. Let me see where my
At least that's like the way I've prioritized a lot of my stuff.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good way to do it. Let's see where the let's see where my little checklist is. Oh yeah, and I already wrote a few things down as well. Nope, that's the wrong one. I'm super well organized. Put in women heart metal. Oh yeah, I wrote down a few things. All right, we have a Aran at level 2. This is where you say the level.
Oh, you want me to say level 211?
Yeah, well, this is the cool part about like your full stat window. It doesn't show your level.
Yeah, that's true. I never noticed.
Which I think is one of the most important things about your character, but it just doesn't even show your level. So that's always interesting. Okay. 211. All right. How are you liking being a 5th job, Aaron? How's that feeling for you?
So, other than having an issue with like Von Bon's jump and a couple of other mobility issues, I'm having a great time. The only problem is I've noticed I'm getting stuck in my animation a lot, like dropping a tiger or like an axe on them, while they're also dropping their 1-hit KO on me. And I've tried speed infusion and getting other attack speed bonuses, but the animation time for at least Beyond Blade is just a little long, is what it feels like.
You are also using a slow spear or a slow
But
pole arm, so
shouldn't speed infusion plus green pot plus booster stop that, or like mitigate that slowness?
that should put you within, I think, within one rank of where you want to be at, right?
I don't know, but
regular
I thought soft cap was 2, so I think it gets me down to 2.
Yeah, well, we can go to hard cap. We can go to 0.
Oh, okay. I haven't tried to get to 0 because I didn't think there would be that much of a difference.
Yeah, so it'd be 2 extra ranks. Oh yeah, dude.
Okay.
Once you go to 0, you never go back.
Okay.
Yeah. It is like a minuscule difference, but it might just be the difference between getting out of the way of the attack or dying.
Yeah.
Aaron also has that one skill where you kind of like do like a small dash down diagonally that like makes you invulnerable for a little bit.
That makes me invulnerable?
Like it's like a little bit of a right. It makes you like a little bit of a corner. I know people use that to dash through the Lotus laser, and I think you can use that to be immune for the Von Bon. Judgment. Yeah, I think you can use that to be invulnerable for the Von Bon jump. Right?
I did not know that.
Was I hitting the yeet? Is that?
That's amazing. I gotta try Judgment out because I use it for like mobbing and stuff everywhere, but I've never heard it gave me invincibility frames.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's one above your head. Wait, there's 2 skills, right? There's Judgment is iframe, and then there's
I did not know Judgment is an iframe. That's the other problem with an Aran I've had, is that the only iframe that I knew of was I have to be in my Berserker mode, and I have to use a finisher. So I have to give up on all my DPS during my adrenaline rush, just so that I can protect myself. And I don't like that mechanic of just giving up all of my DPS during my one DPS.
Yeah, no, that is not what you want. Yeah.
Just to keep myself alive.
Yeah. No, the judgment.
Yeah, it doesn't say an iframe. I'm pretty sure.
Judgment draw. This is the one, right, guys? Judgment draw makes you immune, I think.
Where? It doesn't say it.
It doesn't say it though. No, I don't see it in the description. Guys, where are the receipts? And then there's another skill that works like a teleport.
No. I have no teleport.
Where is it? It's not final toss, not rolling spin.
I've got a jump upwards with final toss. And that's it.
Where's the thing?
Judgment draw moves me a little left and right.
Can I have like a video of Aran versus Lotus?
It's the finisher last job. The finisher is either a tornado or an invincibility frame that turns my polearm into a cannon.
Into a cannon. Oh, that one. Let's see, like a weaker one. What do they use? Oh yeah, you have like Freud's, right? That gives you...
Yeah, I have Freud's. Am I supposed to be using that or no?
So I'm not like an expert on Freud's, but what I understand is that it gives you a bunch of buffs, and then the more stacks you have, the more individual buffs help you.
It eventually gives me an iframe for like 25 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, 30 seconds, Whipcore says? I think Whipcore plays Aran. There's the one skill that's like a little bit of a dash that I know people use to get like through the laser. Let's see if... yeah, see, it's like... Oh... So
yeah, he uses the iframe. Or I didn't know that dashes me, like the cannon. But now he can't use it anymore, right? Yeah, how do you do that? How do you go through? I don't understand.
He died there. Wait.
Oh, he has the... maybe he has 30 seconds of invincibility.
Yeah, this is the invincible part, right? Where the... Hear this? When you're at 2 stacks with 25 seconds? Now he's invincible. No, wait. This... Is it this skill?
That's keeping him alive?
I think so.
See, he just went through the laser there.
Yeah,
he got 6 stacks.
That thing. What is that?
So
Whipcore, what is this skill? You have like a little bit of a diagonal down slash. Yes, Freud's on? Yeah, but he only has 2 stacks of Freud's.
So that's not invincibility yet. I think it's 6 for invincibility.
It's like that one. With the axe like down, this skill.
Oh, that's my 5th job. But that Carnage? I think Maha's Carnage. But I didn't think that gives me invincibility either.
Is this Judgment Draw? Oh, this is Judgment Draw. Like back in the ground.
No, that's Judgment Draw. Yeah, that axe.
Yeah. So that's what he's using here to dash through the laser here.
Okay.
That works like a mini teleport, and that makes you like not exist for like a little bit, and that's enough time to get through the laser, and it's also enough time to dash through the up jump of Von Bon.
Okay.
Right, Whipcord? That's what you also use to not get hit by the Von Bon jump, right? Because that's the only thing that's like fast enough to throw into your combo so you don't get locked in. And I think he's trying to do it again here, but he's a little bit too close to the right. It's a very close... I think it's not good to do it right here. You always want to do it when the laser is as much vertical. Perfectly vertical. Yeah, so that you don't... So that you have... Because if it's diagonal, you have more hitboxes that are going on. And I think that's why he ends up dying here.
Okay.
Yeah, so weaving that one in might help you not get stuck on animation. And the combination of that and having higher attack speed should alleviate a lot of that problem. So the next thing is that we're going to work on getting your attack speed up.
Okay.
And that'll be with the other weapon. You definitely don't need your attack speed +1, right? Because your booster gives like +3 or something.
I have no idea.
I think we have some Aran people in the chat, but I'm pretty sure your Aran booster for some reason gives like 3 ranks of attack speed, if I'm not mistaken. So you end up with like crazy amounts, but you need that because your weapon is one of the slowest in the game. So, oh, we have one person saying +2 and one person saying +3. You see, it's not an exact science. There's like a lot of knowledge is still like floating around somewhere. I'm pretty sure, yeah, boss, crit, and then either damage to debuffed because you constantly slow them with your snow charge, or attack is like the meme. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the booster is 3 for Aran, and that's why they don't need attack speed +1 on the invulnerability. Because if it was only +2, then you would need attack speed to hit hard cap.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm no expert on Freud's. I think you use the skill and then you start stacking, right? And as you gain more stacks, more effects pile up.
Yeah, something like that. I got it recently, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, it sounds interesting, but it didn't sound as cool as the Shadow, where it's just I get another dark side for 30 seconds. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna just ignore Freud's.
Okay. Yeah, I think Freud's is something that is.
Then I should probably start using it.
Yeah, I think it's good in certain scenarios. That's like very helpful, and then in other scenarios, it's kind of like a waste of a skill slot. And since you're only 211, you're probably still very limited in how much availability of skill slots you have.
Yeah,
so
I'm switching around between the bishop, decent. I forgot already.
Decent holy symbol.
One, yeah, holy symbol and Urda Nova for binding Narc.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. Man, I've always just tried to, if my skill doesn't have its own bind, I'm always trying to just not rely on it whatsoever.
Oh, like my class doesn't have any bind, so don't rely on it.
Yeah, like I've tried to do that, but like with my hero and stuff, like tried to not do it. But yeah, in some situations it's probably not good. Maybe I'm just like limit testing a bit too hard.
I never wanted to use a bind because I would have to craft Urda Nova, but recently I just got it, so I can use it at Narc. That's the only place I have used it. Everywhere else I haven't touched it because I've never found a use for it anywhere else.
All right. Okay, so your 5th job skill, refresher. One of it is like you put down like a domain, and then you get like ice after image or something, and the other one is a big slash that kind of like kills the map.
Yeah, one is a slash and one's like a weird tornado that pulses out of me every 4 seconds.
And what and this guy, this Fenrir looking dude? What does he do?
It's another attack to Beyond Blade. So
right.
It's another attack afterwards.
It's like the wolf at the end.
Yeah, it's a wolf at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, there should be a bind coming for Aran, so that should be nice. Their new skill. I mean, let's see if it actually survives the purge of Tespia the way that it is now. But that should be interesting because it also like slows and it does some other stuff as well. I think it also creates like extra tornadoes that kills damage, like damages things around the target as well. Yeah, that should all be interesting. I think you just mainly have a case of low levelitis where you just need to level up and unlock more slots. Right now you have to, you really just got to make sure that whatever you're working with is ideal. What is the boost node situation that you're working with?
So I got one perfect tri node, and it's the one that I highlighted as of on the image right now.
Yeah, the second one, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then the other one, that's just the one I'm living with for now because I don't think Final Attack is amazing in terms of like when I check the battle analysis. But so I was like, yeah, I can live without it for now, and I like Judgment Draw a lot.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with Hero as well. It's like it's not super important, but it'll help you. It'll just help you so much. It never be like a giant part of your damage, but it will activate like all the time on all the stuff you're using. And because you're attacking so quickly, it just has a lot of opportunity to activate. But the main thing is that it's kind of like silent damage that just goes in without needing anything else to be done. It's like added damage onto your main skill. And boosting it all the way is actually going to make it finally make a difference. And until it's fully boosted, it feels like it barely does anything. And it's kind of that's
Okay.
definitely true, but it starts coming in and helping a lot once it's fully boosted. And it's kind of like the same with like final attack on marksman, for example, is really bad because there's a limited range within which that final damage can exist and can target monsters, but the further away you are from your target, the more damage you do. So if you actually go far away to optimize your final damage, then your final attack doesn't hit anymore because it's too far away, and then that kind of counters your whole boost node. But if you're very close, like you are with an Aran, like you are with a hero, then it's constantly ticking on the same boss, and it'll help you just dish out more damage in the same time without needing extra effects or extra skills to be introduced to your rotation.
Okay.
So that's the main one they go for, and then they have the option Smash, Swing, Hunter, Prey, Maha's Domain. I guess it's good to just have like one main trio that kind of covers your bases, because that allows for a bunch of decent skills, all of your skill nodes, maybe special ones like the Bind Now, maybe like I guess Weapon Aura can start coming in sooner, but it'll help you cover your basics with your decent hypers, you're decent.
So
I guess.
what is the use of Weapon Aura? I've seen it a bunch in videos and stuff, but it doesn't seem that great. It just adds like an extra disc that I throw.
So it ends up, if you max it out, it ends up having a pretty high uptime, and it gives you a little bit of final damage, which is nice, and it gives you some ID as well. So it's mainly a bossing skill, but if you're using it when you're mobbing, you're just like shooting out an aura in front of you, which is already the direction that you're moving anyway. So it's almost like it's casting you. Like for mobbing, I don't think it's useful at all. But for bossing, it's actually really useful because the uptime gets good, final damage ID, and then so the aura shoots out every now and then does a certain amount of damage. It used to be linked to whatever line, whatever skill triggered it, and it would copy the amount of lines of that skill, and then copy up to, if it's maxed, 100% of the damage of that skill. You basically double the damage of a hit every now and then. But it was too overpowered because of how it worked, with some skills doing way too much damage and way too many lines. So they changed it to what it is now. I think at this point, is it triggering every 6 seconds now? Or did they already buff it to 5?
Well, I have a level 1 of it, so let me just go ahead and check here.
Yeah, that amount shouldn't change with leveling up.
It says up. Okay, it doesn't say it. Every 5 seconds.
Every 5, okay, yeah. So they nerfed it to 6 first and then rebuffed it to 5. So, the extra damage on it isn't crazy, but it's mainly the final damage and the IED that like is stacking with everything, just improving your burst more and improving your damage output.
Okay.
And I think it ends up having like almost 50% uptime, I think. It ends up lasting pretty long when you... Yeah, so usually what I do for skills, I just like Google them and then look at the max and then hope that the whatever I find on Google is actually up to date, which is not always the case. When it's maxed, it's 16% IED, 6% final damage for 140 seconds. Oh, so it's way more. 140 seconds with 180 second cooldown. So
but isn't it pretty hard to get a node stun all the way up to level 30?
Oh yeah, it is.
Especially if it's like a specific one like this.
For sure. But it's good to know which ones actually end up improving a lot when you level them and which ones don't really, because that way you can commit your node shards better. So say for the decent skills, the only thing that happens is that the cooldown goes down. And then some of them gain like a little bit of all stat, and that's about it. So those are not... Decent
Sharp Eyes should not be leveled at all.
So if you look up Decent Sharp Eyes, Maple Story, and then look for the wiki, I think it might give a little bit of all stat. Oh, hang on, there's a bunch of them. Decent Sharp Eyes, 5th job, here you go. So it gives +1 all stat at level 1, and if you get it all the way to level 30, it gives +6 all stat. So there's 5 all stat to gain for those 29 levels. And the cooldown, what is the uptime goes from 183 seconds to 270 seconds, but the cooldown stays 180, so the uptime stays at 100%. So the main reason you would want to level it is because you have more flexibility on when you want to recast it. So as you're trying to cycle through all of your skills and it's like, oh, we got a burst coming up in 15 seconds, if you can rebuff let's say, in 15 seconds we have burst. Everyone has to be ready. And let's say that your decent shot price right now has like 20 seconds left on it. Well, you can't recast it now because it's still off cooldown, right? But in the middle of your burst, it's going to end. It's going to disappear, and then it's going to ruin your burst a little bit. So the extra utility you have is like, okay, I could just recast my decents now, because you'll have more time, more overlap between when can you use it and how long does it last.
Okay.
That's the added benefit, and then the 5 all set obviously does nothing. But so even if you do max these are like way down the list of the ones you max. The one decent skill that you would not hyper body, holy symbol. That's the one you do level, because if you look at decent holy symbol, like the amount, the duration goes up like just the same like the other ones, but the amount of experience you get and the amount of drop rate bonus, those do go up. Yeah.
Okay.
So it starts at 20 EXP and 14 drop, and it goes up to 35 EXP and 24 drop. So it almost doubles on the EXP, and the drop rate is like 2/3 gains, yeah, or 3/5. No, 2/3. So that's good to know. Also, the HP cost on summon goes up, which can sometimes kill you in bosses like Czak or.
But then if I'm using holy symbol over there, then that's a whole another problem.
Oh yeah, you don't wanna get drops.
You're right about that.
Yeah. So it is.
I don't got the notes for it, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. So it is predominantly like a mobbing thing in the beginning. What some people will do is they'll get a boss to near death, especially in the beginning when you're struggling with slots. Get it to near death, and then drag holy symbol in instead of one of the boost nodes, because those can never be on cooldown, and the other ones probably will be depending on how you're killing the boss and everything. And then you just double click it in your 5th job tab to get the extra drop, and then kill the boss like that, just to get a little bit of extra chance.
Yeah, I should do that with the pink bean cup, because I haven't gotten that yet.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The one thing is though that every time you are opening your skill window, there's like a chance that your game just like freezes for 10 seconds. So you always want to. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but.
Yeah. It usually happens with the profession tab more than anything.
Profession tab, the metal tab typically lags a lot. Quest tab can, These are like quick buttons that I usually take off of my keyboard immediately, because if I accidentally press them ever, like I don't want to die. So I try to get rid of those ASAP. Okay. Back to structure, because we're a little all over the place. But matrix-wise, you know what to do. You know what you're on. Leveling will give you much more flexibility there. And the first one you have is Beyond Blade, Final Blow, and no final attack yet, right?
Yeah, no final attack on the first one.
Names. Is that Judgment? Is that what that is?
That's Judgment, yeah.
Okay.
Because I use it for mobbing a lot.
I'm bad with skill names, so okay. I'll try. Okay, so that one's already level 6. Yeah, so if you're eventually sticking to just 2 boost nodes, having to extract boost nodes is pretty shit for the for how much you get back. As long as the boost node isn't like terribly high level, it's not a really big deal. But once you get close to like level 10 or beyond, it's kind of, it ends up being feeling a little bit wasteful.
Yeah, that's why I haven't spent a lot of like resources on the boost nodes. I was waiting for a perfect trio before I did anything.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good.
So the moment I got that perfect trio, I was pretty hyped.
Yeah, exactly. I guess you can keep the Judgment in case you want to use it more later, and maybe you find another one that has a better combination of like 2 other skills that can still be boosted, right? Because if you find the one that replaces this, it'll just be, the skills will be in 2 boost nodes and they'll be spoken for. Or you can temporarily use 3 boost nodes and use those, put all of those in boosted node slots to get them to level 60 faster. You can also go for that, which is a benefit that you can exploit being a class that doesn't need like 16 different boost nodes. So that could be like a temporary setup to get to level 60 faster and just increase your final damage compared to a lot of other people. People who need a lot of decent skills and stuff like that will really be struggling for the room. But of course, for you, something like decent speed infusion will be very, very useful just to get that attack speed up.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to make room for that one quickly. Okay. So, how's... Okay, what are my basic questions? Where do I usually start? Oh, yeah. Class, I know that. Level, yes. Time to play. Oh, yeah. How much time do you have to play?
I usually play on my. I would say I just do my dailies, and then I make sure to cap for the event,
Mm-hmm.
and I call it there. You maybe a little bit more here and there, but yeah, it's usually just that much per day.
Okay, so no, like, huge training sessions, maybe in the weekend a
Yeah, well,
little
no,
bit?
I don't really do. I don't really sit around and mob unless if I have the frenzy totem from like the monthly, like the daily gifts.
Yeah.
So other than that, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I don't grind very much. So I'm just slowly, passively leveling through the dailies.
I see. And do you buy out extra totems from the reward shop or no?
Um, I I do, but that's usually for training Legion
Okay.
or just other Link skill characters, just so that I can train those through faster.
I see. Okay. So you just have access to one computer then, I understand from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing for money?
It's again just dailies. That's about it. So I made Akana through Terror Burning to 184, and then I was like, do I really want to make another class just to fund my original class?
Mm-hmm.
And then I lost motivation to do that because it sounded like I would have to put a lot of mesos into that. Because I got like 30 or like an extra little bit of meso obtained on my Aran, and I realized there was no difference. So I was like, do I really want to make a Kana to and roll for meso obtained just to fund the class? And I decided not to, and I gave up.
Yeah, it really
So it's
depends
just
on how
dailies.
much you... Yeah. Whether it's worth it or not, there's definitely a lot of people that it's worth it for, and there's also a lot of people that it's not worth it for at all. It truly depends on just how much you're planning on playing. And if you're in it for the long haul, but you don't have the hours... You know, like maybe it's worth it for you. There's probably like this number of hours where it's worth it for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But it's probably like, I don't know where that number is, but if it's for you like eight years into the future when it starts paying off, like it's not gonna feel good. Those whole 8 years, and then after that's gonna be like, yay, it's finally paying off, and then who knows where you are in your life after that. So I mean, 8 years is like a hyperbolic example, of course. Like it could be 2, could be 3, could be 6 months. Like I don't know, but yeah, but it's just important that you feel like the decision makes sense for you, and if it doesn't, then probably just keeping on doing what you're doing now is probably a good idea. And it seems like you're taking it like slowly, not trying to force it. Some people,
it's this is a second MMO that I play, so it's like pushes the amount of commitment I need to put in both games
I see,
a little up. So yeah, I can't.
A WoW player, I see.
No.
Path of
Not
Exile.
WoW. It's RuneScape.
RuneScape.
Yeah.
Oof, you're slowly upgrading. I see. In another 4 or 5 years, you'll be playing Path of Exile.
I played that for a little bit, but then I couldn't handle it compared to Diablo.
I see. I'm just messing. I've never played RuneScape, so I don't know.
I think that's why I also liked Aran, was because there's a lot of combo potential in an Aran, and I like the Berserker mode that he gets.
Oh yeah.
So there were similarities between the two.
Getting that combo off though was always tricky for me. With the tornado, because if you do exactly the combo that they say that you have to do, then it doesn't work for me. I think it's because
There's
of
a specific combo.
Yeah, like if you're doing the tornado, right? The tornado finisher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if you do the key combination to get the tornado off, if I do
it, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It'll just skip through it.
Yeah,
I don't understand why, and I'm like, whatever. I don't even use it anyways, other than mobbing anyways. So
yeah, I found there's like a pause between the final attack or something. Like it's like
yeah, but sometimes I'll teleport because the tornado also gives a small teleport.
Yeah.
And then it'll just go back to doing my regular basic attacks, and
or nothing.
It just skips the tornado entirely.
Yeah. I haven't figured out yet like what the actual key input is, because sometimes I feel like, oh, I have it now, and then I got it 3 times in a row, and then the 4th time it just doesn't work again anymore. It's like, fuck, I thought I had it.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's you know, maybe it's like the gambling skill. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. I don't know. Okay, so I see you're working on your On your symbols, oh, you switched them around. Sneaky. Okay, so 210, so that's slowly leveling. That's nice. It's good ID and good boss damage, so I'm expecting to see some ID lines on your WSE. At least one, maybe two. And you got some event rings. Got the pocket iron that we could do something with. You don't have a heart, but that's not super important for you. You've got some legendary stuff, and you got some unique. You're not over-invested in a weapon. Okay, this looks pretty decent. And you've got some Hela. You got the set bonus. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 set boss. Okay. Okay, and then boosted. You're at 2. Then 1 at 2. 2. High crit rate. Is it do you get crit rate out of like the combo stuff or?
I get no crit rate out of... Oh, from the combos. Yeah, when I'm at 500 combo, I get crit rate.
That's when it takes you to 92?
Yeah. But I'm at 500 constantly because I'll just adrenaline rush right at the beginning of a fight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I played Aran like on release, so I'm a little...
Yeah, it was completely different. That's around the time that I played it too.
You had to like try to get to...
recently to play with it. Yeah.
There's like a medal for getting a certain amount of combos and shit. I remember trying a long time to get that one. Finally got it. Let's see. I have like a video of myself like soloing Zakum or something. Like, oh god, that was a long time ago. Okay, Link skills and Legion. Which ones are you? Have you checked the exclamation mark links?
Yeah, but that was. I'm working on the more important ones like DA, DS, and Beast Tamer right now. But yeah, I have looked at these.
Okay, so you have a general idea of like the progression and gradually working on them, what levels they need to be at, and all of that is all clear.
Yeah, the one question I had about that was Night Lords and Pathfinders. Is Night Lords they have the buff, the same kind of bonus to damage when they're like debuffed? So would that work well with Aran because I'm always debuffing enemies?
Oh, yeah. So the Explorer Mage does a debuff.
The Explorer Mage ones. Yeah.
And then the Thief gives you more damage if you debuff someone, and then Kadena also gives more damage if something is debuffed.
So all of those would work really well with Aran's like slow debuff?
Yeah, and they would also synergize with the stacks you get from the mage one, because it'll be like a blue book over their head that stacks up to 3, and that gives you extra damage and IED, and that also counts as you debuffing them on top of it. Okay. So yeah, that combination would work well. And I think I'm pretty sure that slowing them down and like making them like snow charged is does that make something appear over their head as a debuff, or does it just slow them down?
It just puts a blue tint to them.
Yeah, blue tint. Just like Ice Lightning, right? Does the same thing.
I don't know what Ice Lightning does.
Yeah, it also makes your bosses blue, which is like weird if you're not used to it. You're like, what the fuck's going on? Especially on Lucid, because all of the attacks, you're looking for the attack animation for the indicators for the attack, and then they look a little bit different because they're all blue. Is Whipcore still here? Whipcore, can you like confirm? Because I'm pretty sure, but can you confirm that just like chilling the opponent is like that counts as a debuff as well when it comes to bonus damage? Because I think it does, because that's why we with the invulnerability list, that's why it also showed like extra damage to debuffed enemies or to CC'd enemies. The blue tint, but that counts for the extra bonus damage, right? Oh, Ice Lightning shows the ice stacks. Okay, it works with Kadena Link. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Kadena for bossing. And then the second half of Kadena is also if you're a higher level than the boss, then that like double ticks there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are definitely good. We can go over that real quick. Buff duration. Does buff duration works on your? Is it a hyper skill that gives you the
the adrenaline rush?
Yeah.
Or like my berserk mode or whatever it's called. I don't think it works. It says adrenaline rush is not affected by buff duration increase effects and buff freeze.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's completely off.
Yeah, I wish it would. Then it would help a lot. Does
Yeah.
Kaiser get that buff duration increase?
I think they do from the ones that triggers the one that triggers like manually from getting the stacks, but not with the hyper, I think.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
That makes me a little sad.
Yeah, see with the third job like transformation, it does, but then not with the hyper, yeah.
That's unfair treatment.
Yeah. I mean, but you still do go for buff duration so that at least half of them lasts like way longer. Yeah. Although I've also seen that sometimes in mobbing, it's better to not be transformed, right? If you're in certain maps and certain level of strength, you actually want to be not transformed. I don't know. It probably depends where you're training. It's good for swing studies, though. Oh, it keeps your buffs up longer for extra damage.
For swing studies, that sounds kind of nice, actually. Because swing studies does increase my range by a good amount.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it does. Because like you're looking at buffed. Because with buffed versus unbuffed, that's with swing studies.
Yeah, yeah, that's with swing studies. I think without swing studies, I'd be at like 1.7.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a decent extra chunk. Because that's final damage, right?
On the top range area, yeah. It's final damage plus 15%.
Yeah, it's pretty massive. That's basically like using Overload Release for the Demon Avengers on like max stacks. I think it's also 15% final damage. Yeah, that's huge. Okay, so you already know what you're working on with the links. Have you figured out like which one you're gonna burn with the or are you terror burning right now? Is that?
So I was terror burning the Kana, but I'm about to. I'm like still 50-50 on whether I should just yeet the Kana and then go terror burn a marksman or something for a little bit.
Yeah, if you're not planning on doing like the second off character, which I think with it's your secondary game and you're like more enjoying like the slow progress the way that it is now, I think you can get more value out of terror burning something else, deleting this one, and you do want to have a level 200 Kana eventually, just for the link skill and the Legion buff. But wait, you already have one?
I have a level 140 Kana.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't need the link skill.
Yeah.
I just made another one because it was terror burning. I was like, dude, wait, I could get this one to 200 quick.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not feeling that, yeah, I would just delete it and go for something that has way harder time being useful, or just training up, right? But that is very useful once you have it trained up. And then that'll give you the box as well to mega burn another character once we reach the July 22nd update. So then you have another mega burn that you can get extra easy Legion levels from.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like Marksman, that crit rate is always nice. That allows you to divest from crit rate in things like your Legion or your crit rate
So if I were to terror burn a Marksman, should I make like a Pathfinder and then job change to it?
That's still not available.
Oh, it's not available?
No, Pathfinder is still like not open job.
Should I do like a Bowmaster, then job change to Marksman? I don't know which one has better mobbing.
Yeah, Bowmaster has better mobbing for sure, to 200, yeah. I've heard from some people, though, getting to 200 on the Marksman, terror burning it, that it wasn't too bad. But, yeah, that's, like, more personal preference. Like, their mobbing is just better, yeah, as Bowmaster. Like, that's indisputable. Maybe up to, like, 4th job, it's pretty much similar between the two, but then after 4th, like, Marksman basically just doesn't gain anything, but then Bowmaster does, like their main skill that just constantly kills more things. So yeah, it's definitely easier to get to 200 that way and then change it.
Okay.
Cool. We went over the matrix. Now we can get to the actual equips. Hey.
Yeah.
Wait, big sentence is an iframe. You only have Freud's Wisdom, which is horrible to build up to. And the other options are only available in your Berserk mode, so it's not always available, and you have to combo 4 buttons. Yeah, that is tricky. That is definitely very tricky. Every class has their own downsides. Like, Kana, for example, doesn't have 100% like stance, Like, it's a tough world out there.
Yeah, I played Pathfinder earlier, like when I started Reboot, and then I hated the fact that I get knocked around everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I just defaulted back to Aran because that's what I always play.
Yeah,
I don't get knocked around anymore.
I started with a Demon Avenger that like starts with the innate 100% knockback resistance, like in the as a beginner skill, and it's rough playing anything, playing anything else. Yeah, you
I can
get
deal with
accustomed to
everything
that.
else. I just can't deal with getting knocked off a ledge.
Oh man, you know it's the best if you're like your last life and you're surviving CPAP, and then you just get like nudged into one of those purple clocks. Oof. Just because you like just like bumps into you. Oh yeah, love it. Yeah, there's so many situations where you're like, Mihail Link, please. I don't want to risk any of this. Okay, so your emblem is solid, 3 useful lines. Like it where it's at.
That crit rate has helped me get above 90, and then once I get a Beast Tamer up, I'll be at almost 100%, 99%
Nice.
at all times. So I'm just keeping it there for now.
Nice. Yeah. Polearm is definitely good for now. Like the 30 boss, the 10 IED is just really solid. The high attack is very solid, and then once you get your Fafnir set, you'll probably switch into that. For some people, even switching into Fafnir is maybe not even. For some people, it's not even that valuable because wow, you're getting the 4 set CRA, but it's not even like the boss damage doesn't even help you when you're training, and you're just getting a lower level, a lower attack weapon, and you have to reinvest.
So I was gonna plan on changing this unique or this potential to just attack or 2 lines of attack for mobbing, and then whenever I do bossing, I was just gonna use the Fafnir.
So I would, for you, just completely devote into the Fafnir because of the extra rank of attack speed.
Oh, okay.
Because this one is normal and the other one is
fast.
Different. Is fast, I think, right?
Okay.
Pole arm Fafnir. Can I find this? Fafnir Moonglaive. Yeah, it's
I'm pretty sure it is fast.
Yeah, it's fast 5. So that'll help you with what you were talking about before, like getting stuck less, and also just just blowing through the map faster. Go zoom. Yeah, exactly. And then yeah, even the and the lower base attack, but higher possibility for better flames, being to yeah, just and then going up to legendary with that one, and then going past 15 stars as well. This one is just very solid for now, and then we'll just get replaced on both ends. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Secondary. That's where the IED is. I knew there was a big chunk somewhere. Yeah. Again, so that's 3 useful lines for now. That's fine. It'll just help you get through everything. How much hidden IED do you have?
So that's where I had a question. Is somewhere in the bottom I also posted the Beyond Blade, like just the skill itself. It gives 30% IED, and then I have 20% on top of that for my hyper skill.
Yep.
So that makes it from my original 91%. Isn't that over like investing in IED?
That is like your main skill. So
yeah, it's my main skill. That's where almost all of my damage comes from. I think 41% in my chaos clown attempt was all from Beyond Blade.
And did you do a calculation on IED, what your functional IED is?
I did not.
Okay, because that's a good so if you look at the progression chart, you've looked at this one, right? I have it up on screen right now. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, I have.
So here it talks about your functional IED. So your IED in your screen is the IED that's always active on any skill that you use. But skills, some skills might have innate IED, like your Beyond Blade. And boost nodes also only activate when you use a specific skill. And some characters, for example, also have boss debuffs, which apply on the boss itself and not on your IED in your window. So you can't really go by your Windows IED to say, like, I have enough now or I don't have enough now. You have to kind of calculate the exact number for yourself to make sure that you find the correct balance between your attack, your boss damage, and your IED on your character. And for every class, it's a little bit different. And that's why the IED calculator will help you out. So what you can do with the IED calculator is just put in all the sources in the game that you know that you have. So that will include enhancement nodes, innate 30%.
So I use this IED calculator to get to my 91% to make sure that I understood how the IED was getting to 91% just for my own like logic, like understanding sake. And then after that, I added my two 30% and 20% from Beyond Blade, and it
Mm-hmm.
puts it up to like 96
Yeah.
or 95, somewhere around there. And I thought that's way too much for where I'm at.
Yeah,
Because my
so you
boss damage is only
probably...
at 90.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So boss damage, and then what this links to as well is your WSE calculator. So weapon, secondary, emblem, optimizer. So here you can put that number in, your IED. So let's say that you're now on like 96, I don't know, you're probably 96 point something, right? Like 0.4 or something? I don't know what the exact number was that came out of the calculator.
I would have to go back and
Yeah,
mess with the
that's
calculator
fine.
again.
So you put that number, you put how much percentage attack you have. I don't know if you have any passive percentage attack on your character.
Percentage attack? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so
think
some base skills do. You can have percentage attack from your soul is possible. I think you mainly always just have 4 from like from Echo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think that gives 4, if I'm not mistaken. And then your base damage mainly just go off of this. I guess you have 189 here and 92 here. So that's 3 minus 11, 8, 19. So 281.
281? Yes.
Yes, sounds...
That makes sense. No, 271?
It's 271?
270? I'll do it. Math.
Minus 8 here, add the 82 here, add the 100. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 71, yeah.
Yeah.
81. 281.
So this is like in general what you would be working with, right? So you're looking at like without the potential that you already have, what would be the correct distribution to maximize your final damage? So this one is too high, right? We have to remove 3 sources there, 3 lines that you have of IED right now.
I have to remove 3 lines of IED? That's all of my lines.
No, for this number, I mean, for this number.
Oh, okay.
So we have to go back here. How do I add... I mean, we can go through this entire list. You don't have Superior Gollux, right? But you do have a line of IED. If I remove this and I put like IED, what is it, Emblem. Your Emblem had 30, right?
Emblem had 30, yeah.
And then secondary 1...
35 and 30.
35. Secondary 2 is 30. And then you probably... I'm missing some other stuff here. What is
and
your...
And then I get 10 from the weapon, and the CRA set is 20, I think.
Yeah, your hyper...
And then I think one of my skills gives 40. Cleaving blows.
Oh, damn, you got a lot of IED. Cleaving blows gives 40?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have the
damage.
We don't have the lever codex. Cleaving blows 40. Do you have a Lumi link?
No.
Hyper stats gives you... Is that 3 per percent, right? Hyperstats gives you 18% now, is that true?
Yeah, but hyperstats, I shouldn't be fully up right now. I think I'm at 7 because, or 6 because it wasn't too much. Yeah, 18%.
Yep. Okay, so roughly...
I think going up to 10 is a little expensive in the hyperstat, like, point area, so I'd try getting it up to 8 and then spreading it out from there.
Beyond Blade, clean blow, secondaries, enhancement notes. What are we missing?
I don't have the Monster Park medal. I don't know what that is.
So if you get the... Do you know how to get it?
No.
Okay, so...
Do I just spend coins on it?
Well, if you clear Monster Park, if you talk to, what is it, Spiegelman? Whenever you clear Monster Park, he will keep track of how many times on that particular day you've cleared it. And if you clear it 77 times on one particular day in total, then you will get a medal for that day. And then if you have that medal for every single day of the week, then you will get the fused medal that gives you the hidden bonus that only works on that one day that you have the medal, it'll instead work on all the days. So that extra benefit is 10% IED, and
And that
that'll.
works on all of the characters?
No, it's like you have to get it on every character specifically, and you have to clear it 77 times every single day of the week on every single individual character to get a medal on that character. So it's at least 11 weeks straight of buying extra entries and doing it on one character, like in a row. Like 11 weeks is the minimum amount you have to spend if you don't miss a single run on a single day.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I never even claimed the quest, so I'm at 0 on everything.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So you got to start out. So let's say you had some more, right? So let's add like a question mark of 20%. That puts you at 96.25. That sound about right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So let's say we remove your line secondary, remove your other line secondary, and then the emblem one. So then we end up at 88.22. Okay, so then we put that in here. Okay, and now we look. Top 10 is just like the top. How many results do you want to look at? And then we can see what kind of configurations we were looking at. So like.
So what is this even? Oh, okay.
So you have bosses have defense, so you need to penetrate the defense to a certain extent, and depending on how much defense the bosses have and how much IED you have, you will increase or decrease your. Well, it'll always decrease your final damage, right? Because you can't get to 100% IED, so you'll always try to get like how close do you have to get. But every single line that you get closer, because it's multiplicative, so every single line gets a smaller effect on your damage increase. Well, at a certain point, you're going to go past the point where the combination of getting more IED and just throwing everything in IED won't be optimal, because you'll have more penetration, but you'll have less damage that's actually penetrating. So it's an equation to see like how much does attack affect your final damage, how much does boss, and how much does IED, and how does these three combined give you optimal damage output. Okay. So it looks like 522 and 432 are like optimal for now.
Okay.
And I think that's.
I should probably roll my emblem and kind of lose some IED from there.
Well, there's a lot of if ands or buts about this. So this is taken into account your current situation, like exactly the way it is. There are a few things that can change this up a lot. So something like familiars can definitely change this. Because they're, from how familiars work, there were familiars with like lines of 40% IED or 40% boss, and you could equip up to 3, and some familiars even could get double lines. So just getting this a few lines in there already from your familiars could completely change how your weapon, your secondary, and your emblem would have to be arranged in terms of damage. On top of that, like once you get into the that's going to be further down the line, but once you get into like the reinforced or the superior Golux sets, like Superior Golux has a 30% boss, 30% IED set bonus as well, which is insanely good. So if you ever get to that point, that would have a big effect on the stuff as well. So this is something to know, like in general, where are you at? But what you have now is you have 3. Is 303? Is that what you have now?
I have 313. I think I have one line of boss.
Oh yeah. 3. Yeah, 313 is what you have now. So if you look at like the optimal for your current situation, where would a 3? Where do I 3? Yeah, like a 423 is here. But yeah, it always ends up like completely 3-lining your weapon, which is like, not always not always a situation you can have, of course. But yeah, if you look at how much final damage this adds, it adds 130.3, and then the best possible one is 132.8. So you're actually pretty close to what would be like the ideal setup for your damage output. So you're not, considering your current setup, you're not that far off, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I should live with it for now until I get Fafnir, and then try to optimize
you definitely can.
Just a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, because the Fafnir, you'll be getting it to Legendary, and you'll be really looking at the numbers there. You're going to be trying to get 3 useful lines instead of just settling, quote-unquote, for 2, right? And And hopefully, it's very possible that you get like another like one line of boss, one line of IED, one line of attack, or something like that, a combination. But that might open you up that if you eventually go for the Princess No secondary, which I think is what you want, right? As a...
I thought the increase is like
Aran?
what, 3 extra attack, so I was gonna worry about it later.
Yeah, it is a minor thing. Let's see, exclamation mark print. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 14, 14, and 8 or something. That's like what most of them have. Run. Where you at? 14, 14, 9 is what you end up with. Yeah, so it's not crazy, but it is like a long-term project thing, and you can definitely see it as. So the big thing about having another secondary is just you can cube on that whenever you want, and you have like a few Meister cubes you can throw it on there, and then if you get lucky, it's nice. And if you have you don't have to worry about you need to use black cubes, because if you mess up your current secondary, then you can suddenly not hit bosses anymore. Like that's the really big value. And if you're going to get a secondary to do this with, you might as well go for the one that you will eventually be keeping, which is the Princess No one.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's like a longer term project, but it's good to have that running on the side so that you're eventually working up towards that. But that's all like investing in that and all is all way after you get your Fafnir weapon and you get that settled. And then once after July 22nd, when we have more information on how our familiars coming back, how impactful are those, that should give us also way more information to like how do you want to restructure. Like at that point, you'll have more sources of critical rate. You'll be able to reroll your emblem as well. Maybe your emblem rerolls like 3-line attack. Then you know that you might need IED or not, depending on how the familiars roll out. But if you do have that one skill that gives 40, Beyond Blade has 30, and you have the boost notes 20, it might be possible that until you get the... So this hinges on getting the superior Golux set bonus and on getting a big enough Legion to get like a 40% IED chunk there, that you could go completely without any IED on any of the things. But there's like a major transition in that whole, your current situation and where you end up there, of course.
Yeah.
You'll have more links, the bigger Legion, familiars, like there's a lot of things that still need to fill these gaps. So for now, this is good. But it's good to know like the general direction where you're going with your weapon, your secondary, and your emblem.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Rings, I think I saw is solid for now. The Con of Treasure is already 17, so that's good. Cosmos, 3-line strength, very nice. Chaos, very unlucky that you rolled 18, but you have shit stats.
I know.
That's so annoying. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you can still like roll this again with cubes, and the base stats are more important. On the other hand, whether you have like 3 less attack on a ring that is eventually going to turn into a drop rate ring, and at that point it doesn't even matter how strong it is because it's way stronger than all of the other ones, and is it really that important? Like considering your the way you are in the game, like it's your second game, you're just like playing it off the side, and you're trying to make some progress, but you're not like super hardcore dedicated with everything. I'd be inclined to say just keep it like this, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
If you get like 3 more weapon attack, it's not gonna affect your damage very much, and now you have a free 18% stat, and you already have so many things to invest into. Getting the 18% roll for free is probably way more worth it than getting a little bit more attack and strength on it, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have my blessing on that one, okay?
Yeah.
If anyone says, like, why do you keep the ring that way? It's like, Scardor said it was okay, so... you could send it to me.
Okay.
Right, condensed power, because you're maining with his... Wow, 36 and 6. That's pretty nice. Wish I could roll that on.
So this I changed because I wanted to just see what Meso Obtain does. And then it wasn't that great, and then I just changed it to like 15% strength.
Yeah, so this is what will always happen, both with damage, with Meso Obtain, with drop rate, with most things, is that just changing one line never really does enough to really make a noticeable difference, right? Because if you look at it from a perspective of like your damage, did your damage really go up that much by getting 15% strength on this? It's also not like hugely impactful, right? But it's because you have a lot of things working together that you see a huge difference. And that's why if you go further in the game and you have like a dedicated damage set and a dedicated drop rate set, if you switch between those, then you'll see your damage take like a huge tanking if you're trying to boss with your drop rate gear on. You'd be like, oh shit, my damage output is like a third of what it usually is. But if you just switch out one item, typically that doesn't like the difference make, quote unquote. So what I usually do, especially if I'm going for like progress on my main character by itself, is I do what you did, like go for Mesoptane drop rate on the accessories that I have, even on the Zakuma accessory ones, and getting those to legendary, and then slowly try to get Meso or drop like with a line of strength, right? So you don't sacrifice all of the potential damage on it, you keep some of it. And then with that, make just a little bit more money whenever I'm training, whenever I'm doing dailies. And then that money can be reinvested into the dedicated damage gear later. So if you're going for the Sweetwater accessories, those kind of things, especially once you go past 15 stars and the big weapon attack starts coming in, then that money that you made with the accessories can be dedicated there. And the secondary bonus is that the fact that you kind of like gimped your progress because you're not going full damage and you're kind of used to however strong your character is and what your rates are there, and just how your damage output is. When you really make that big upgrade to a higher Star Force, legendary, double, maybe triple line, but like probably double line strength item, then you can actually feel like a difference, especially if it's multiple items at once. And then you can really feel like it was worth the investment to take the detour and like take a hit in damage, but focus more on the utility of making more money, and then coming back with like the huge upgrade. And that'll feel really good at that point.
Okay.
Because that's the one thing that you have is you're basically playing the patient, like playing the long game, right? So the one thing you do have is that you can make those big gains over time. You can be opportunistic with saving up your money and waiting for an event and then pouncing on an event because you'll be ready for it whenever it does come, because you're not over investing all the time. So
yeah, I'm banking on, I heard DMT got skipped, but I'm banking on Nexon trying to cash in on all the Adele mains now. So I'm assuming that
they have to soon. Yeah, it's still people quarantine, maybe new quarantine. It's still people at home from in the summer break. Like they have to do something to cash in. Yeah.
So exactly, that's what I'm hoping on, because they got to cash in somehow. And if they've already done enough Star Force events, the DMT should be soon.
Yeah, so investing in an Aquatic Lighter Eye accessory temporarily to help you get the drop rate, help you get the Mesoptane.
So with the flame on this one would be good enough to invest in, because the other one has a good flame, but this one is just mediocre.
No, not a good flame. Like. That's an amazing flame. Okay, I don't want to hear you say good flame to a 36 and 6 on a condensed power crystal. Okay, this is like what I kill for on my mules. Okay, I'm settling for like 5% at this point. Like this is like double that. Yeah. So yeah, don't compare to the insane condensed power crystal, because you'll never reach that level.
Okay, because I've only been looking at that. And I'm like, if it's not that, I don't care.
Yeah, no,
and I've dropped so many.
Yeah, you will keep dropping billions on something like this. Yeah. Typically something around like 50 to 60 flame score is typically what I would end up with these things. And like,
so one thing I've had
for comparison, like the power crystal is like over
score.
80. Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Sure, go for it.
So you said the flame score for all stat percent is +8 for the flame score.
Yeah.
But if you look at the,
I took 8.5. Like, yeah.
8.5. But if you look at a character's like base stat, it's around 1,000 like main stat with nothing equipped at level 200, right? So wouldn't each percent all stat equate to an exactly 10 main stat?
The calculation is very different. You're looking at just 1,000 AP and nothing else.
Yeah. Because that's what it says. Like when you're trying to log into a character, it says like 1,000 something.
So
AP and then 4 and 4 and 4 for the rest.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing. So one stat also does not equal one stat. Does that make sense?
No.
So if you would add 1 strength right now, in your stat window, you wouldn't gain 1 strength.
Would it be multiplied by all the percentages after that?
there would be a multiplication factor. So if you would
Okay.
reflame this face and you would get 22 and 3, your strength might go up by like 6 or something. So you're not
Oh.
calculating how much stat is it after the calculations, but how much stat is it equivalent to if it was only stat on the item.
Okay.
So if the so just to resimplify, like if you had 4% all stat on the eye, or you have 34, that would be right, 8.5. Then both of those would roughly make your damage go up around the same amount, provided that all of your items are kind of at the same tier of being upgraded and you're at a certain stage of the game. So it's like taking into account the other factors. So it's not like 1% all stat gives you 8 stat in your stat window, but it's more that 8 stat on your item gives you roughly the same as 1% all stat on your item.
Okay. Got it.
And there's plethora of calculations in the background that are at work, and there's flat amounts and there's set. So these are all like approximations. If you want to get
I love doing the calculations for this kind of stuff. Okay.
yeah. So if you check !flames, you can throw it into calculator, or you can look at directly at the Flames guide that kind of like goes over the numbers. And but these are like rough approximations based on what is your general level of being upgraded in these stages of the game, to be able to partake in these bosses and this content that is designed for that stage of the game, basically.
Okay. So this aquatic eye accessory would be worth keeping and then cubing, because I've kept a potential looking for a better one.
So it would depend, because I see you already have a monocle as well. The benefit of having 2 monocles, for example, is that if you roll 1 and you get like really good drop rate, or like a combination of drop rate of Mesoobtain on it, and you're actually looking for damage, and you have another one that has Mesoobtain and 1 line of damage, well, then you can just switch the utility between them and then just start cubing the other one.
Okay. Because I got this monocle before I realized there's some transpose or transfer hammering shenanigans going on. So
yeah, transpose is... So basically, some people even go up to like a 21-star 3-line monocle as like their main one before they even find a Papulatus mark. Like, this is a thing that some people take multiple years of being able to
so
get.
I don't have to worry about that.
No, this is like something cool when it does happen. And then when it does, you can just buy a new monocle and do the transposing then, and worry about it when, cross that bridge when you get to it. But there's a very good chance that bridge never reaches you, especially with the level of engagement you have at this point with the game. Like, this could be a thing that 2-3 years from now, or if they dramatically increase the drop rate, or something like that.
Okay.
So since you already have the eye accessory and you don't have like a killer flame, it's not even Star Force, you already only have epic potential, I would be inclined to just switch it out with the monocle at this point. You're using this 7-set
I keep
bonus.
it for the 7-set bonus, and then I use this for the monocle from Hobby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, or you switch and then you switch the shoulder.
So the shoulder is the same thing. I don't know which one to use, is whether keep the boss or to keep the boss set, and then or to keep the Kana's treasure set.
So I think what your
I've
options,
been like contemplating between the two.
Your options are what you have now in the picture, and then switch the shoulder and switch the monocle and see what your output difference is.
Okay.
Because it looks like
roughly the same. Yeah.
Red Black Man's shoulder is minus 42, and then the eye is plus 11, but the eye doesn't. It has 11% strength, so even going up to unique could already give as much as like 6% extra, and that might make up for the difference already. The main thing will be once your monocle and then later a tattoo. Once those things go past 15 stars, that's when the big weapon attack comes in, and that's when you definitely switch over.
Okay.
So that's what you eventually want to go to, so don't overinvest in the things that you will be replacing from what you currently have, basically.
Got it.
I'm seeing that the flag race is going to start soon. I see that the Mechanator pendant... Yeah, so again, there, like, with flames, ideally, you want like something like 50 to 60. So this one is like 3 is 4. So it's like 39 or something. But like the 6% stat is way more important, right? Having that on there. 20 on strength. Earrings.
I think I got a second Mechanator with 21 strength and 4% all stat. I'm planning on keeping that one.
Oh yeah, that's a nice extra. Yeah, that's probably like right up to the level. That's like low 50s. Yeah, that's probably right where you want it. Yeah. So, I mean, unlucky about the potential, but you can still keep this one. Maybe transfer hammer through Gollix pendants into the final level of Gollix pendant, and then you're basically using it as a 100% epic potential scroll that you're like transferring through. Yeah. So I like to keep epic stuff like that. That's why my inventory is full and they call me the hoarder, because I will keep those kind of things because they do get value that way. Yeah, so same with the belt. Yeah, you're just gonna be holding out on, or holding out for getting some Golic stuff because the base stats are just so crazy. Like reinforced and superior to base stats are so crazy good.
Okay.
4 tech and 5 is probably okay for now. For like CRA, you typically want to aim for like 60, 70 in the flame score department.
Okay. 60, 70, got it.
Yeah. Well, eventually for like 100 plus, but yeah, you're like slowly gonna work your way up to there. And that's the thing. That's also in the progression tab, so you can compare in that way which items have the biggest flame score that they are still likely to grow into. Right? If one item is like 10 short of where you want it and the other item is like 40 short of where you want it, then obviously the one that's 40 short is the one
40,
yeah, the biggest possible gains there. Yeah, cubing so cubing your CRA is always tricky. I would just throw Master Craftsmans you have at them. If you get those, just to try to roll at least 9% stat or, you know, hope for the 15. That's where they can have the most value. You already have 9 on the hat, so you can just keep it epic. It's all fine. Shoe has 64, so that's fine the way it is. Some people go for Nova Shoe, but I'm guessing at this point that'll be a very small upgrade for you. Because you'd have to like recube it and everything as well, so it's like whatever. Damn, why is it always this flag race, dude? I don't mind. It's fast. Okay, that's all looking good. Cape. So Cape is also in the same wheelhouse when it comes to flames. It's also like boss flames, so it's basically on the same tier as your CRA gear. So there's a lot of, yeah, there's like probably up to like 80 stat or something. Like if you get a lucky roll that you can just gain from the Cape.
Okay, I didn't know that the Cape could also have good flames, so I've just been keeping it as is. Okay.
Yes, if you look at the numbers, you see there's 4 individual stats that are altered. So that already gives you like a high, it gives you like a guess that there's a good chance that it is a boss flame, right? Because otherwise there's 1 through 4, so there's only like a 25% chance that it actually has 4 lines activated.
Okay.
But yeah, this gets boss results, so definitely a good flame target. The only other thing that I had written down is once you get Pink Bean down, the Pink Holy Cup will get you way better results, and that one is also in the same level as the other guys, so that will also get you a really good flame that you can use to basically aim for some stuff on the same level as the Tyrant Cape and the CRA stuff.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much all the questions that I had. One final question would be I also play a Shadower on another account because I play Maple with my girlfriend, and that's why I started. And when I was looking at your or that one website, or not website, your one Excel sheet that has all the classes and then early, mid, and late, a bunch of numbers on it. I don't know what to call it. Reboot class classification. It said that late game Shadower's damage is, or potential burst is really high, and then right afterwards it says end game it's terrible. Well, so what makes that difference between late and end from going from like 7 to 2?
Yeah, so late and end. So all of the numbers are relative to other characters in the same grid. So that's how it can already shift. And late and end is just different content that you're clearing.
Oh,
So
okay.
it is possible that certain content is very easy to confirm your damage on, and then maybe it's like a stationary boss. And then when it becomes a mobile boss that you're more looking at, then maybe it becomes way harder to confirm your damage.
Okay.
That could be part of it. And then also, the further you get, your kit changes. But once you get to the late game, your kit doesn't really change anymore. But the way that certain content interacts with your kit can be different.
Okay, so that's where that chart changes. Okay.
Yeah, and also like right now, my late and end for some things are still intertwined. God damn it! So I'm trying to still untangle those two, but it's pretty tricky because I have limited information on how to do many things, and I don't have intricate access to a bunch of classes. So I have to go by hearsay, and sometimes I just make up some numbers, and then I have people correct me. And then you can have an actual conversation, and people come with details, and they come with numbers, and they come with backup facts that help you understand more about the class. So sometimes I just kind of wing it, and in the hopes that people kind of, correct me, and then in the correcting of me, I can learn a lot about the stuff. I do also like reach out and try to reach information, but it is a relatively small community still, and there's so many different classes. So there's a lot of classes that are just underplayed, and as a result, the amount of information you can get back isn't always enough to make, completely perfect, rational information. Yeah.
Got it. So for the general gist of what I should be progressing towards, I should probably lose some IED, and then after getting the Fafnir weapon, probably focus on flaming for the most part, because it didn't seem like my potentials were really off. They were all pretty good.
Yeah, so so Fafnir weapon, definitely main thing to work on. Aim for attack and boss damage there. Definitely don't aim for IED there, right? Yeah, potentials, like, fine. I think Star Forcing is probably the next thing. I remember, like, the Princess No, if you can have some access to that, like, in the background to start working on that to replace your current secondary. Probably Star Forcing stuff up to 15 when there is a 30% off event is going to be the best thing for you. I think July 12th has one.
Okay.
And then trying to get things that are 10 now, like definitely like your CRA gear. If you get a Sweetwater tattoo, Sweetwater monocle, like those kind of things. Getting those up to 15, and then just hold them at 15 until there's a 5, 10, 15 event, and then get them from 15 to 17 on there. But there hasn't been one of those announced yet. So hopefully in the second part of the summer, we'll have one of those. Okay. Yeah, so flame-wise, definitely your cape, and then if you get the pink holy cup, and your weapon, right? That's going to be mainly important. So like tier 6 attack, and then hopefully some boss damage that goes with it.
Okay.
And yeah, I had written down like a heart possibly, but I don't think you should be bothering with any of that. I think you have more than enough stuff to take care of right now, and the heart is like a min-maxy thing that doesn't really do you much good. Yeah, if you're like capping points, make sure you buy out the items from the shop, and you keep an eye on. Right now, there's no sales announced, so you can buy whatever. Whenever, but as soon as we get more input on the on when the Sunny Sundays are, maybe that can help you look at like sales when you want to buy items, maybe things in the fountain. I don't think in the fountain. Well, the final fountain is going to have a box that can give you up to 45 eternal flames, so that could be big value for you, honestly.
That's the fountain. Yeah. I've been working on my mules, or as I've been training my Legion up, at level 100 or whenever I can start the event, I just start it, and then usually I cap at least once or twice on each one of my
and then individual
Legion characters as I level up, and then I'm just gonna put that into the donation fountain.
Exactly, yeah, because just by themselves you can't really buy anything useful anyway. But then the collective can help boost your main a little bit more. Yeah,
exactly. I have to create an army for my main just to help my main.
It takes a village to raise a child, right?
Yeah.
Or in this case, it takes a legion to raise an Aran.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you're just gonna gain so much just by keeping up with your arcane symbol dailies. If you unlock like new areas, that's gonna help a lot. and just leveling up your matrix, your skills more, and finding your boost nodes. That's just that's where a lot of your damage is going to come from.
Okay, so I have I noticed that on the progression like chart you had, it said that solo CRA should be around the 14k main stat mark.
Yeah, I think a little
I've
bit
hit
lower you
10
can
or
do it. Yeah.
10k ish, and I've had trouble just soloing the easier one or like the any of them,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what range I should or what mark I should hit to be able to solo any CRA at
Any
this
CRA.
point because I can't do any.
Mm-hmm. So your IED is on point. Your damage percentage is probably on the low end, right?
Yeah.
So focusing on links that will give you extra percentage damage might be good there. Like Adele won't help you because if you're trying to solo, right, it doesn't do much.
Yeah.
But like the Demon Slayer definitely. So you already have the Kana, so Demon Slayer, Demon Avenger, Kadena, Arc. Those are like very good links that will give you a lot of percentage damage. And since percentage damage is something you're lacking, then in overall proportion, those will add a big portion to your damage.
Okay. Got it.
And it's other than that, it's mainly just like mechanics. Just practicing the boss more and more, and becoming just more and more aware of like where your shortcomings of your character. Sometimes you just have to, like with Von Bon, if you're like, oh, you can be jumping. A lot of it is like recognizing the patterns of the attacks. After a while, I almost feel like people who play MapleStory a lot can almost like do some of the bosses blindfolded, because not like Pierre where it's RNG which color he's gonna be or something, but with like Von Bon, it's like, oh, he does a swipe. If you're not close enough to him, like he does one of those, he sends one of those projectiles, and then he does another one, and then he does a jump, and then he teleports, and he tries to smack, and then he does and then he teleports you, and then he does a one of those projectiles again.
Rotations.
Yeah, like just practicing more and more, you just start seeing the patterns better, and especially with C-Val, like knowing how big the hitboxes are, and like you also got to get a feel of like when you see a skill happening, like how long do you really have before you have to respond to that. Some skills, like, oh, he's up in the air, like I got to jump immediately. But when Vellum is like an indicator on the ground, it's like, okay, I got to move, but do I have to move like right this instant, or do I have like another second before I really have to move? A lot of things like Vellum is if you move too quickly, then too many tails cover too much surface area, and then you can't stand anywhere anymore. And then you're basically just doing the thing where, oh, he's doing a skill, I'll just jump to the other side of the map until he's done and then walk back. But then you're not doing any damage anymore, and then you run out of time. So you got to find the edge of like where do you prioritize dealing damage and where do you prioritize surviving. And you seeing other people do it can help you a lot, but just like getting hands-on experience after you see someone do like, okay, try this and this, and then try to get hands-on experience and be like, okay, this actually works for me, or this doesn't work for me. Like everyone has different mechanically differently inclined, and you can have different lag and stuff like that. So you gotta find what works for you. But your crit rate's right, your stats are right, I think, right? Yeah, you're like over. It should be good. Combination of practice, your ID's good. Where am I clicking? Yeah. I guess your Legion is still rather small, right?
Yeah, it's at 1300, so it's just put all into attack and strength.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Once you get bigger, the critical damage and boss damage are going to help you a lot. Specifically, like with what you already have. So if your critical rate is 100%, critical damage is basically works like final damage, but additively. But it's a big multiplier, and then the boss damage will just help you a lot because of how much your total is right now and how much it's going to overall affect you.
Okay.
But yeah, the new weapon, high tier. Start forcing that to 15 when the event comes around. Getting good potential on that. That's going to already help you because that comes with an extra 30% damage as well, remember? Because of the set bonus. So that's already going to give you a big chunk. And the faster rank of attack speed, which lets you put out your damage faster and respond faster to boss movement, so less chance of dying. And because when you die, you lose a lot of damage as well. That's another thing that you got to keep in mind.
Okay. Perfect.
Right. I hope you find that that second boost note very quickly, so you can start committing.
Yeah.
It's always tricky in the beginning. Yeah.
But it's nice to have one, at least that I know which one. Like, I can fully commit to one.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you know that it's not gonna get wasted or that you have to disassemble or something. Yeah, that's good. That's good. But yeah, get that attack speed. I got like the speed infusion in there. And that combination. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to say. Monster Park, definitely make a habit of doing that so you can get the coins. Because with those coins, you can buy the Monster Park buffs. So one of them gives you more experience when you're training. One of them gives you extra attack, and the other one gives you the extra rank of attack speed. So the combination of those things, just having... So if you're playing relatively little, but you play every single day, you can take a big advantage of things like these where you have a limited access per day. But since you don't play that much on every day, you can always have uptime of these things.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
so
where
then I'll
you
always have like the 10% EXP bonus, pretty much.
Yeah, like wherever you're training, always the XP bonus, always the attack speed buff during all the bossing, and maybe also during the training just to make all that a little bit faster. If you buy the extra entries, I don't know if you're doing Maple Tour and Ursus.
Yeah, those are the two. Oh, for the extra entries for Maple Tour, no, but I am doing those for dailies for the Mesas.
Yeah, so if you have some money, it kind of depends, but I think it's pretty much always worth to buy extra Monster Park entries with like either reward point with reward points or with Mezzo is like always worth, just because of the coins you get, and then the coins translating into the potions, and because of the how much faster it helps you get to the point where you can get the medal.
Okay. Got it.
So definitely have that one on the list. Yeah. Yeah, but you have a solid foundation. Yeah, the IED feels like a huge waste now, probably because you have so much. But sometimes that's what it takes, especially now that we have much harder access to superior Golox, and we don't have the 30% from the Codex, and the familiars are not here. Like, it's totally fine to have that for now. It's a very solid foundation that you can make sure that you can focus on all the other things purely in the damage fashion, and then once Legion and familiars and all of that stuff starts coming in, and then you can like divest from the IED that you have. But that doesn't, just because eventually you want something else doesn't mean that right now it isn't exactly what you need. So no worries there. All right, man, is there anything else that you think you could need some extra explanation on?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, that's good to hear. You sound enthusiastic. That's great. Yeah. Fresh knowledge for energy to commit to the right things. That's great.
All right. Then. Well, thanks for all the help.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking it. That's always it's always good, and for asking the right questions while I'm doing it. It's good to have an interactive back and forth during these sessions. I like it. So thank you as well.
Well, I came in with like not a list, but I did come in prepared with a bunch of questions and a different kind of with a general flow of what I needed to know.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, you're like a paying customer, so I mean, it's good. Yeah, you have to be happy at the end of the day, so it's good. I'm glad, and now I can Ursus with relief.
All right. Well, good luck on your Ursus runs.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all the help.
Yes, best of luck, and I'll see you in chat.